So we've got 2 coasters left to add to the park, and because I enjoyed triggering many fights over who manufactured this one last time, let's add, well, this. Alright you guys, we're back in our Thememaker's Toolkit Park, and sad times, we're hitting the 2/3 marker, but we've got just enough time to squeeze in another 2 coasters. Yes, 2 of them. So welcome back to Gypsy Point. This is the first of those coasters, and it's a Mack. Or an Intamin, Gerslauer, I don't care, we're having fun in this park, don't spoil it. So, I didn't have any plans for this coaster to be in this park, I just sort of toyed with a bit of a layout and this happened, and I thought, yes, it needs to be in this park. Let me show you around. So we're going to come out of the station into a holding brake run. I've done this just for capacity reasons. It's only because there's not enough time for trains and stuff to work unless you have 3. So it is what it is. It comes into the lift hill then. It is a cable lift hill because I've used the Intamin one in game. Again, make of it what you will. And it comes into the first drop. It's not a particularly steep first drop. It's a family coaster, remember. And then just like all of the Macks and the Intamins around, it comes into this tight turnaround and then into this sort of like airtime sidewindery type hill, and then from here on in it's just a sequence of airtimes and turns, apart from this particularly overbanked turn because you need to kill some of the momentum and whatever, and it comes around this way and then into the final brake run. It's a really simple, effective family coaster, but I wanted a coaster that lived out on the water, so you can guess already that the theme for this one is going to be Greek, and it's going to be a sort of around the Temple of Zeus as a supporting ride in the Troika. Better get on with it really, hadn't I? See you in a minute. Well, like a bloody good novel, it's taken some twists and turns, and it's ended up in a place that I didn't think it was going to go, but hey, Chacho can do Greek temple architecture, who knew? Because I didn't. And I mean, yeah, it needs touching up, and it still needs a bit of detailing, but I'm alright with this, you know, it looks legit, it looks like what the park would put in terms of their budgets, and it's as good as you guys would probably demand for a Greek temple. I'd like to think so anyway. But yeah, I mean the adventure stuff really does come into its own when you're doing this. This is mostly adventure stuff, and I also have used the Baroque pillars rather than the stucco pillars, which is the ones that you're supposed to use for neoclassical Greek design. You probably saw in the time lapse that I actually had 2 pillars stacked inside each other, so I had a color fade. I ended up not liking it, you know, so I actually just took them out and kept it simple. But yeah, this is looking all right. Like I say, I need to do all of the area and stuff around it. I've got an idea for what I want the floor to be and all of that stuff, because it's gonna need tiling, right? So that's what I'm going for here. And then even down to like this fence design here, it's the icing stuff. I don't use this icing for detailing as much as I probably should, and I thought, do you know what, I need something a little bit like wavy and a bit watery, but still Greek inspired and that's Zeus inspired. So that's what I did. I didn't want to leave the whole queue line fence as this wood. I wanted there to be some kind of decoration, but I didn't want this to be the main fence. I actually wanted this one to be the main fence because it's all quite fancy. Don't know what I'm going to do with this bridge here. I think I might just go down the route that the park would have gone with girders and stuff because it's what the guests can't see. I need to find something because I can't use these, right, because they're going to stick out of the water and they're going to look stupid. So yeah, I don't know what else I'm going to do. Anyway, talking of sticking out the water and looking stupid, I think I'm going to end up doing custom supporting right along this coaster because I need to put the footers and stuff outside of the water. I don't really know how that's going to go yet. I have put these custom supports on the lift hill, and the A-frames have been quite fun to do because they're not vertical, right? Horizontal. They're off slightly, and that's because of the way that it sits in the water. There's a whole science to it. I won't bore you with it. This isn't that kind of series, but yeah, this is what I've done. It's over the water and I like it, but this bit sort of turned out a little bit different. I kind of wanted this to sit on the bank and it was just going to sit there all happily and lovely, but I just put this I was going to say field then. It's not even the right word, Chacho. Don't even know why you said that. I just put this wall in and then put all of the dirt and stuff down. And actually, I think I prefer this, this like whole idea of a key wall. Yeah, I'm liking it. Down here then, we've got the ride photos, and of course I haven't done the inside of the building and whatever yet, but I wanted this to reflect the station and the design that we've got with the station, so it's a copy, right? You saw me copy it over. What I'm doing here is I'm just starting to put the path covers and stuff down to get a feel for what I want the textures in the area to be, and I think I'm going to go with the castle. I had different varying textures or ideas of what I could have on the floor and stuff, but actually I think I prefer the castle stone, And of course, when this is all done, this is going to be good. And I've decided to bring the queue line. It was originally a cattle pen here, but with the maintenance area and stuff, which we'll talk about in a moment, I had to move it. And I decided to keep the queue coming around this way because it feels like they would want to make the guests look at their photos as they leave, like force the guests. It's a bit Merlin, right? But yeah, that's kind of what they would do, rather than having the path finish here and you be able to skip the photos completely. Queue line then, I'm keeping it nice and simple. I did decide to use this fence because that was the style that I wanted to go for, and then I've just put some rocks and stuff along here. It's difficult because I need to use the dirt for all of these angles and stuff, right? So I need something to break off the bank from the dirt and hide the misdemeanors of the dirt that I'm using. So that's what I've gone for here, but I've actually done a lot of terrain work here to smooth it out, put the sand down and stuff, and then just put a bit of foliage and whatever, and it's just going to feel like a beach. So that's kind of what we're going for in that sense. Maintenance area then, this is actually relatively simple. Now you guys have asked this quite a bit about vehicular access. Small parks tend to do some really, really weird and wonderful things with their maintenance areas. You don't have to have vehicular access. Yeah, it helps. It absolutely helps. It's not imperative. It's not always the case. So what I've got here is I've got the transfer track, and then the train would then be stored, or the two trains, if you're only using a one train operations, they would actually be stored on this rather long maintenance area here. I'm taking cues from Stealth at Thought Park, and that's how that kind of works, and kind of to an extent Hyperia, Hyperia is going to have the same. But to answer the question about access and whatever, what would happen is out of season, this troika would actually be dismantled down to its individual component parts. Now what that means is you've actually got quite a bit of space here to bring a crane in, and the crane would lift over the fence, and that's how you would have the vehicular access into this area. So likewise over here as well, it's not out the realms of the possibility that they would remove the fences and this then becomes a road for a crane to come in this way, but a lot of the maintenance area would actually be done in the station. So again, small parks are really creative with the space that they've got. They don't want to waste it on access and service roads where they don't need to. So that's what we're going for here, and I think it works. I'm alright with that. So the troika then, I want to keep this really simple. I've changed its colours, and I've just copied across the fencing that I'm using here instead of Don't Die fencing. I don't want this to be any more than this. I do need to put something on top of these pillars, because the whole neo-classical Greek thing, they would have statues and stuff on the top here. They would be like Roman, what would they be, Roman? Greek warriors, Olympians, right? That's what they would be going for. We don't have that in game. The closest I've got are gargoyles or the ravens from the graveyard set of the spooky pack. I might just end up doing that. I don't know what I'm going to do for the statue of Zeus. Like, I might break my own rules and look on the workshop for one. I did a check earlier on. There's plenty of Thememaker's Toolkit ones. Like, when we do the Thememaker's Toolkit pass at 25,000 subscribers, hint, hint, there's going to be amazing statues, but for now, we're just going to have to make do. And then this kind of just happened. I don't love it. Not at the moment. I think I know where I'm going with it. I think I've got an idea. It looks a bit like a bank, doesn't it? Let's be honest. But, I mean, it's there. It does its thing. I will love it by the end of it once it comes to life, once the roof and stuff is on. It's going to be all right. But yeah, this is kind of... Well, hello, camera. Behave, please. This is what I'm going for. I wanted to have the same feeling as the station. I wanted it to feel like it was that whole temple thing. I'm talking about it, right? And you definitely will know from my voice that I'm not entirely sold. I don't think it's going to go. But I don't think it's going to be my favorite part of the build. We'll revisit that, shall we? And then this area here, I kind of figured, right, that we don't actually utilize the water side very much, and we're still not going to, because the coaster that's going to come in here takes up the entirety of this water side. So we don't actually have, other than this tiny little bit here, we don't have anywhere that you can sit and look out to the water, because look, it's all taken up by rides and it's all taken up by stuff. So what I want to do is, in this area, I want there to be a massive waterside bit, and I think I'm going to start it off here with a bit of a pier or something going on. But I need to play that out and stuff, right? So there you go. That's how it's looking from the top. I'm all right with this. I'm liking it. Let's see how it turns out, shall we? See you in a minute. Oh, there you go, guys. I think I'm about ready to call it for now, because I do have a little bit of stuff I need to do on the outskirts, but this is now looking and feeling exactly how it is. In fact, it looks, should we say, clean? I think that's probably the word you're looking for. And the bank still looks like that, but we'll come back and trash that in a bit. Let's have a look at the rest first. And I mean, for a family coaster that sits right at the back of the park, it's exactly as I wanted it to be. And I do want this area to feel like it's a little bit undergrown, as in it might be probably one of the newer parts of the park, so it's only just been put in here, so therefore the foliage and stuff isn't as grown up and the trees aren't as grown up, and in fact you've got some gaps and stuff. So yeah, like I quite like how this is. So let's have a look at everything that we've got then. So the station itself. I knew I needed to put something here. Something when I was doing this originally just felt like it needed something. Like some kind of motif or something. There you go. This is all I did. And this was just random stuff, right? So it's the stuff that I put on the original fences. And then I found this plaque. I'm finding so much stuff that I didn't ever know existed. Like, this plaque is brilliant. I love it. And then I just put the Baroque stuff down and it just created this bit of a scene. And yeah, like, this, it looks like a Greek temple now. It looks like the Temple of Zeus or the Temple of Olympia. I'm happy with it. I am absolutely happy with it. And then, of course, you put the, I call it the pirate roof. It's not the pirate roof at all, is it? But let's just call it the pirate roof, the bamboo-y style roof. On the top here, it just finishes it off just absolutely beautifully. Q-line then, I did actually put the motif along here. It felt like this area needed it, right? It couldn't just be used in one place. It has to thread throughout the entire area. So I put it all along here. It feels a bit cheesy. It feels a bit tacky. And I am totally here for it. I'm alright with that. let's live with it. It's all good. Inside the station then, I always had plans. As soon as I found this floor in another episode, I knew exactly where this was going to be used. So I've used the tile floor. Again, I'm taking direct cues from the Olympia temple and stuff. The ramp that goes up to that is this tile effect floor. And of course, the inside of here would be quite grand and quite nice. So I've put in some extra pillars with row numbers and stuff because that's kind of what's needed. And then over this side, I've put in all the usual stuff you find, you know, the catwalk clutter and the consoles. And then of course we've got some baggage bins and whatever. You don't need many baggage bins because it's got 3 trains, right? So you just got the 3 there. And then of course I've just put all of the usual stuff around. And then the queue line I have just tidied up here, and I did go with the iron or the steel girder look. I thought actually it's too good to miss. It's too good an opportunity to not do, particularly as you'd be standing here and you wouldn't even notice it anyway. So we're all good in that aspect. Outside then in the actual ride area, yeah, I ended up doing customer supporting. The footers sticking out of the water with the in-game supports just didn't feel right. It just didn't sit right. So I ended up doing it. I mean, is it still right? Is it perfect? No, it's absolutely not perfect, but it's as good as you're going to get, right? From this distance, it looks good. It looks like it should. That's all that matters. The $2.20 principle in it. So, yeah. And then the ride photo area then, this is what we've got down here. Again, I wanted to use the motif and stuff from the main building. It felt like that was absolutely needed. It just looks perfect now. I didn't even bother with a ride photo sign. It is what it is. You know what it is. In fact, this is definitely too grand a building for a ride photo. But hey, whatevs. And then the actual queue line entrance. I didn't want to put the entrance over the actual entrance, if that makes sense, because it was blocking the view of the building and it's blocking the view of the motif. So I've set it aside slightly. Maybe you would have the test seat in the middle here. Maybe you would have some kind of statue of Zeus or whatever. It's whatever you want it to be, but it's there. And no, I decided not to use a statue of Zeus. I did originally have it here. It felt a bit cheesy, so I just decided to not do it in the end. I just did away with it, and I'm all right with that, you know. I don't think it needs any more than that. Troika queue line then, I've kept this really simple. I could have done all sorts with this, but it's just a cattle pen. The Troika is just the supporting ride. What I did do was just touched up all of the bits around the outside, tidied it up a little bit, and I also took the decision to not put the stuff on top of the pillars. When I don't think I'm going to show it in the time lapse. When I did it, I didn't like it. It felt spammed. I know it's spammed around now, right? Because it's the pillars, but that's exactly how it is in the whole Greek neo-classical style, right? They are spammed around, but when I was putting the stuff on top, I was like, this just isn't feeling right. It just felt wrong. So it feels more right like this. This is the least worst of the options, right? So we're just gonna live with it. Darting around the area then, the queue line itself comes together quite nicely when you put all of the stuff down. You know this already, you see me do this. When the tiles and whatever go down, it looks good. And then this bit kind of now also makes sense with the rocks and the foliage and stuff. And like I say, there's the terrain paint. There's three terrain paints going on here. You've got the pebbled sand, what I call the tidal sand, and then you've also got the rock as well. And you blend the three together, and it looks all right. Looks like it should. And then all you do is you just use some foliage and stuff just to fill the area out with a little bit of maturity and a little bit of growth, so that you're hiding the sight lines and stuff. It gives a bit of variation in it. It's all good. I do need to do this bit over here, right? Because the coaster that I will spoil in a minute is going to come in here. So there's going to be bits and stuff in this area. So I haven't done the back end of that queue. This is the coming back to trash this now, guys. My least favourite building in the entirety of the whole park, but for various reasons. This is the start bit then. So I didn't want this to be a boardwalk or a pier. I actually wanted this to be a solid stone thing. So this is what we've got here. It juts out into the sea. I was going to say that, no, into the lake. But you do get some really decent views of the coaster from this angle. You get quite nice views of the turnaround here. So yeah. I'm alright with this. I didn't want to do any more. I did have like a tree here, for example, but no, it was just blocking the view too much. Like, this feels like it would be a bit of a sightline area, so I just made it as obvious as I could. And then this still feels like a bank, but do you know what? It's alright. What I don't like about it, and I have seen this, right, but I just don't like it. It's this bit here. It's the fact that it's not connected to the building here. Like I say, it's like that in real life. IRL, you will see this example where you've got this gap. For me, I don't know. I just don't like it. Like, I think I'm going to sleep on it a couple of episodes, and if I don't like it, I'm going to lower it so it does meet the ceiling. But you know what? I'm pleased with how this looked. It's not deletable, that's for sure, right? So I'm happy with it in that aspect. It will stay in the sense of it does what it needs to do. But am I entirely thrilled and happy with it? No, I'm really not. But it does what it needs to do. Some of you will like it. Most of you will hate it. We can fight over it later. So, maintenance area. So the maintenance area then I've also done here. Kitted it out with just all of your usual clutter and stuff. It does what it needs to do, but what I did do is I took the opportunity to hide it a little bit with some of the foliage and stuff from the sight lines. You can still see it, and you can still see that it's styled in the same as the area that it lives in, but it's also hidden because it is a maintenance area. And of course the maintenance track is also hidden from guest view here as well, so you can't actually see it when you're down the guest view. So it kind of works, but it did need to be styled because it interacts with the track a little bit too much, right? You couldn't just have a shed sat there. It just wouldn't feel right. So yeah, there you go. Right, let's spoil next week, shall we? Are you ready? I don't even know where it is, by the way. There it is. Da, 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 da. Ooh, boosty. That's what you're getting. Cheeky. I know you guys do check this out, by the way, because I can see the most replayed part of videos, and it's always the bit that I spoil. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. Talking of thanks, thank you for getting to the end of the episode. Here we are, another episode done. This is the top area. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, blah, 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 blah. We're going to go for a ride. I will see you next week. Have a good week, guys. Take care. Bye.